Hi, this is Justin. Welcome to the very first episode of the JustinManiluh podcast. Yes, I am super excited to finally record my first episode because I have been wanting to have my own political podcast for the longest time. As in for the longest time. Well, just like you, seriously, just like you, I love talking about politics. I love posting about it in social media. I like listening to listening to political podcasts. I love reading the news. I love watching the news and whatnot. But I'm such a political junkie, as in I swear, I'm such a political junkie that I'm reaching the point wherein my idea of fun is listening to hours and hours of committee hearing sessions or plenary sessions. I also love watching press conference of department secretaries explaining a project and program. And so, for my very first episode, I wanted us to deep dive into the other side of Philippine politics. Okay, I'm not gonna be a hypocrite. As in seryoso. I also love talking about what's happening in the country right now, the trending topic, the most controversial politician. Yes, gusto ko yun talaga. As in, I would also do that here in the podcast. But right now, for our first episode, let's talk about the other side of Philippine politics. Na para sa akin is more interesting in a sense kasi meron siyang epekto. It has an impact in your life and in my life. And I mean, diba? And what am I talking about? These are the four P's. I call them the four P's. It's the priorities, the projects, the programs, and priorities, project programs, and policies. So, sabi ako nag-contemplate. Seryoso. I'm thinking of what might be a good first episode for the JustinManiluh podcast. Then, just a few days ago, we were listening to or watching the last plenary session of the lower house for the year. So, Speaker Martin was like saying that we passed the priority legislation or the LEDAC legislation that the president asked for during his last SONA. And I was like, oh, that's a good topic. That's a good topic. I mean, Marcos administration priority legislation, diba? Ang ganda. Sabi ko, okay, let's start with that. Pero syempre, medyo napapaisip ka din. Sabihin mo, baka naman no one wants to talk about it. Baka naman no one is interested on it. So I'm like, oh, fine, okay. But if I can start the conversation about all of this, then even if we have opposing opinion about all of these bills, I figured maybe we can have a better conversation in social media. Maybe we can have a more factual, more stimulating, or more objective opinion on things. Because regardless if you like the president or not, you like the congressman or not, you like the senators or not, these laws or these bills will have an impact in your lives. So sabi ko, sige, let's do it. Pero sorry ha, we're gonna have to do this na parang it's a series kasi madami kasing mga priority legislations na. So maybe this is Marcos administration priority legislation part 1. Malay mo umabot tayo hanggang part 30. Pero I'm gonna try to make it not as heavy as watching a committee hearing or plenary session. Para naman, alam mo yan, it's still a podcast. I want to be with you while you're driving your car going to work, or whenever pag naglilinis ka ng bahay, or you're jogging, or you're just working, you just want First thing, priority legislation, LEDAC, um, priority bills, diba? Parang, I'm sure at some point, nabasa mo na siya sa article. Pero, medyo, okay, good. Okay, this one's good. Medyo, alangan ako dito. Pero, hindi mo pa na-deep dive. Hindi mo pa parang, okay, what is going to happen here? Or somehow. Here's the thing. If you wanted to know kung gusto mong malaman where the administration is going, kung after 2022, you want to know what the president wants to happen or ano yung ini-envision niya sa country, what is his plan, alam mo, madali lang yan. The first thing that you need to look at is his priority legislation, the LEDAC. LEDAC is Legislative Executive Development Advisory Council. In layman's term, pinakasimpleng explanation that I can think of is the executive asking the legislative na this is what I need to make my vision happen. This is what I need to make my programs happen. Diba? Parang this is the executive asking the legislative na parang, tulungan niyo naman ako because this is my vision. This is what I want to happen by the time I end my term. So when I saw the priority legislation of example natin, when you saw the priority legislation of the President Marcos, alam ko na agad that his priority is economic recovery. Kasi parang the bills there were from pre-pandemic stage, gusto niya mag-recover our economy. Makikita mo yan sa listahan niya. Same as kung ano yung mga dinadagdag niya. Kasi of course, when you're new to the office, this is what you envision, pero you get more information the more that you're there, and then makikita mo, where are you going? So this is why talking about the priority legislation is important. So it's a very good thing that both houses, especially the lower house, are supportive of the president. Kasi, yun nga, as I've mentioned earlier, the speaker is like saying na, 17 out of 20 na request ng SONA, we already passed. And maiintindihan mo how important the relationship of the executive and the legislative is. Diba? So also, in all fairness to the Senate as well, marami na din mga napasang priority legislation there. So, here in the series, kagawa ko ng series here in the podcast, wherein we're going to talk about those legislations and that their impact in our lives. So, syempre, eto na. I always say that as an individual, we have a sector that we feel strongly about. Like for me, it's always consistent. It's health. My number one is health because I'm a public health professional. The second one is youth. The third is education. And of course, and the fourth, because I'm an ally of the LGBTQIA+ community, their rights. So for me, when I saw the list of the presidents, the first list pa lang ng priority legislation ni BBM, sobra akong happy about our first priority legislation that we will talk about in this podcast. So what is that? Ayan na. Yes. So sorry, I have notes because I want to be factual. While talking to you guys because ayoko naman na parang ifa-fact check nyo ako agad. Ayoko naman ifa-fact check nyo ako agad on my first episode. Anyway, our first legislation is the Regional Specialty Centers Act. This is already signed by the president. Meron na siyang It is already signed by the president, so this is actually a law. It is RA 11959. If I'm thinking of an adjective I can use for this priority bill, and all I can think of is game changer, and that is an understatement. I so swear, maraming misconceptions about this that I have been seeing online, and I think some of them I replied to. First of all, ang ayaw nila dito is sana daw the budget would be used for basic healthcare delivery muna. Parang mas dun daw yung problema, which I also agree. Pero the Marcos administration already said that the implementation of the universal healthcare law, which basically address the basic healthcare, yun yung priority ng DOH. That will be the legacy of the Marcos administration. That was the statement of the government. So okay na. We set aside the basic healthcare argument there. Also, this law answers a different problem. And what it is? Alam nyo, meron akong friend na yung nanay niya kailangan ng bypass sa heart center. Alam niyo ba, at this point, they already have a schedule until almost half of 2024. Seryoso, that much people needing specialty centers. Here's the thing. Alam nyo, I remember listening to committee hearings and plenary sessions about this. And some of the lawmakers are actually attesting to the fact that when you go to our specialty centers, the National Kidney and Transplant Institute, Heart Center of the Philippines, sobrang daming pasyente na galing pa ng Visayas at Mindanao. Diba? So aside from the money that you should be using, that you need for the medicine, the money that you need for the actual operation itself, iisipin mo pa yung lodging mo, yung pagkain mo, yung pamasahe mo, yung air trip or yung barko mo. Those are the things na parang, okay, this addresses this. One common misconception is this is an infrastructure project. No, this is not an infrastructure project. This is basically something that would have a huge effect on our healthcare system. Pero I also need to take note that may infrastructure project but outside this law. Meron tayong, I think the Marcos administration announced a few months ago na meron tayong multi-specialty hospital in Clark that will be funded through PPP. So moving back, RA 1159, dun sa parang section 4 of it, this is the really important part, is to establish to establish specialty centers in every region. That's the goal. So kung iniisip natin, mapapatayo ng hospital, mahal naman nun. Parang hindi naman yata totoo yun. Those are the things that I've been reading online. Well, sa definition sa law, a specialty centers is a unit or a department in the hospital na nag-o-offer ng specialized healthcare at nag-o-offer ng intervention into a specific disease or kunwari. If it's a heart specialty center, it's a bypass, etc., etc. So we're not actually building new hospitals. We are establishing specialty centers in existing DOH hospitals and GOCC owned hospitals or government owned hospitals. So ibig sabihin nun, parang ang laman nitong law na to is that the government, specifically DOH, will assess the DOH hospitals and GOCCs if they are NSC, which is a national specialty centers. Ito yung mga highest level. Siguro ito na yung mga heart center, ito na yung National Kidney Transplant Institute, yung mga BOPIS hospital that they're talking about. Tapos, i-categorize siya sa advanced comprehensive specialty centers, tapos basic comprehensive specialty centers. So, may hierarchy yan. Tapos, the main point of the whole law is to, again, Section 4, establish a regional specialty centers in every region. Ano bang ibig sabihin nun? That they will provide specialists and equipment na kailangan for you to meet all of those categories. Diba? Na meron tayong, may provision. There's a part of the law which says that it will prioritize funding for capital outlay investment. Kasi ang gusto mong mangyari in every region, people have some place to go to with regards to specialized care that they needed. So, hindi na kailangan lumuwas ng Maynila for all of those things. See, I am telling you guys that this law is underappreciated kasi this is a game changer. I swear, if you have time, please go to the official gazette and read RA 1159 and you will have a deeper appreciation of the regional specialty centers. Diba? I don't know, sobra ako enthusiastic about talking about all of these bills kasi I followed that from its very first reading both houses. Seryoso. Plus, all the consultations from experts na sinama nila sa committee hearing, ganun, that level of understanding of what this should be. So, maybe we can start to have this if you do not agree with what I say, all you need to do is tag at JustinManiluh. I do not agree with what you say, and that is totally fine. The thing is, we need to talk more about this kasi it's good news. Good news, magkakaroon na tayo ng regional specialty centers in every region. And that is the start. Malayo pa yan, I am sure. But this legislation is the beginning. Okay. From a game changer, this next priority legislation, I think nandito na siya sa, the last time I checked, parang nagkasundo na both houses on the disagreeing parts of their versions of bills. So I think they submitted it for President's approval na. Ito naman, sobra akong emotional. I was really emotional when I was watching this. As in, I am sure that if I lay down all of these facts, you will feel the same. Pag-usapan natin the Philippine Salt Development Act. Well, basically, di ko alam kung alam niyo that there's a law na nag-require ng iodized salt. The intention was good. Because it was meant to address iron deficiency and micronutrient problem back then. Pero, okay, so nakinig na ako ng committee hearing, both houses to. Imagine niyo ha. Sorry, I just need to, you please imagine this. Bibigyan ko lang kayo ng comparison. Singapore, favorite ko to. Singapore, they have 193 kilometer shoreline. Tapos, kumita sila ng $21 million last year for exporting salt. Diba? 193 kilometer shoreline. Alam niyo ba that we have 36,000 kilometer shoreline and we are importing 90% of our salt. 90% of our salt. Kakaloka talaga. Nung noong 1960s to 1970s, all of this information are from the committee hearing sessions. So, noong 1960s to 1970s, we have 240,000 metric tons. Ngayon, we are down to 42,000 metric tons. Imagine this ha. 93%. Iba yung kanina. Ito kasi, 93% of our salt consumption is exported. Nakakaloka. And to make matters worse, this is from the committee session. Yung mga ina-export natin from different countries are not even iodized to begin with. Ina-export natin siya ng raw. Diba? Ina-export natin siya ng raw. Please make sense. So, we were requiring our local farmers, salt farmers, local producers na lang. We're requiring local producers to iodize their salt. Tapos, we are exporting salt na hindi naman iodized. Diba? So, this Philippine Salt Industry Act, imagine ninyo yung kinita ng Singapore last year, which is $21 million. So, given that we have 36,000 kilometer shoreline, imagine how much money the Philippines should have been earning, or at least man lang to give livelihood to the local producers. I think I've read somewhere that Governor Matt from Ilocos Norte is, trying to revitalize already the salt industry there. And sorry medyo biased lang ako siguro sa mga information na pumapasok sa akin, but it is also Congressman Marcos. It's also Congressman Marcos who's pushing for this bill in the House. So, makita lang natin na parang okay. There's also during the baka naman isipin niyo kaya nga dati nagkaroon ng ASIN law because there's iron deficiency and micronutrient problem here in the Philippines. So ngayon, they're also directed DOH to actually have alternative intervention on this. So kasama ang DOH sa task force on the task force on Philippine Salt Industry Development Act. It's pretty strategic kasi the law also requires a development plan for this. And I am just super happy that this happened. Okay, so finally, I'm down to the very last priority legislation that I will talk to you on this episode. But don't worry, I'm gonna have twice a week for December, and on January I'm gonna have thrice a week podcast. So I will be able to talk about that. Anyway, our last measure would be, oh my gosh, yes, this is the Magna Carta for seafarers. Magna Carta for seafarers. Here's the thing, no. Alam niyo yung issue na parang muntik nang hindi ma-recognize ng EU yung, di na ma-accredit ng EU yung paano nito. Muntik nang di ma-recognize ng EU yung mga Filipino seafarers for a lot of problems connected to the curriculum somehow. Doon ko lang nalaman na tayo pala ang top country na nagsusupply ng seafarers worldwide. I'm sure sa 400,000 seafarers na dineploy natin from 2016 to 2022, meron kang kakilala na seaman. Na meron kang kakilala na asawa na seaman, kapatid ng seaman, may anak na seaman, may pinsan na seaman, o yung seaman mismo. So, dun sa 400,000 na seafarers, I just cannot believe that we don't have the Magna Carta for Filipino seafarers yet. As in, alam nyo, if you will look at the law, you will see na parang it actually, it is before kasumampa, habang nakasampa ka, and after. So, I mean, it is only right that much people, that much manpower that we are exporting to the world would have legislative protection. Because ito pa I mean, I would understand really. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Pero if you know what I mean, seaman kasi it's not the safest job. So they're also prone to hazards. They're also prone to a lot of things. And ang question ko lang naman talaga dito is, bakit ngayon lang? Diba? Bakit ngayon lang to nangyayari? Again, the bill is very, very comprehensive in the way that it talks about before, during, and after the welfare of the seafarers on that perspective. And I sincerely wish na I think it's already submitted for the president's signature. Aside from the challenge of the Marcos administration to actually address the issues that was raised by the EU, this is monumental for our seafarers, for our seamen. So, sa ating mga seafarers. Anyway, sorry, I lost my train of thought there, pero yun lang. That's my only argument there. We are exporting thousands and thousands of seafarers on a yearly basis, and yet we don't have a law protecting them. So that by itself says that if the administration prioritizes seafarers here, it's aside from the needed protection that they have and the benefits. Being a seafarer is not forever. So the post engagement is still a really good thing. One aspect of the bill that I really like is for them to have action centers dun sa parts of the countries na madami, yung mga parang daungan, and they specified areas there. Yes, so that's about it. So we talked about regional specialty centers. We talked about the Philippine Salt Development Act, and I think I butchered it, but I guess you get the point. But also the Magna Carta for seafarers. Well, anyway, hi again. I'm JustinManiluh, and you can listen to this podcast on Spotify, YouTube, X Live, and Facebook. But there will be more platforms in the future. If you want to comment, if you want to suggest anything, if you want to get to know me on a level that, as in, if you want to get to know me, the best place that you can visit is Twitter or X. You can find at JustinManiluh. If you have topic suggestions, please do not hesitate, because I need them. So on our next episode, we're going to have a part 2 of the Marcos administration priority legislation. But this time around, we're going to talk about the controversial priority legislation. Let's just say it's the Maharlika Investment Corporation, or MIC. Let's just say it's the AFP pension, diba? So, and the new procurement law. Yeah. So those are the things that we will talk about the next. I think I'm gonna have this every Monday and Friday. So on Friday, yes, it's a date. Thank you so much. And this has been Just for the Justin Manila podcast.